our project, we're discussing the topic of mental health and social media by Abigail Bierman, Roma Ellenberg, Adrian Rodriguez, Brittany Turner, and Kennedy Kelly. The project is broken down into 5 different subtopics: the correlation between social media and eating disorders, the mental health benefits for disconnecting from social media, using social media for mental health awareness, correlation between social media and cyberbullying, as well as how influencers impacts followers' mental health. We find that our topic is important for society because it sheds light on both the negative and positive aspects of social media's influence on mental health.
The correlation between social media and eating disorders. Social media greatly influences how people see themselves, especially when it comes to how they look. We're on our phones so much, so of course the apps that we use every day, apps like Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, often show edited or unrealistic images, which can make people compare themselves and feel dissatisfied and unhappy with how they are looking. Many studies have found that seeing posts about extreme weight loss, dieting, and things like thinspiration or fitspiration can increase the risk of disordered eating. And since social media algorithms kind of make this worse by constantly showing similar content, it can encourage unhealthy thoughts and behaviors in our daily lives. We have research that tells us about 95% of children and adolescents in the US between the ages of 10 and 17 are using social media almost constantly. Research has shown that social media can be beneficial for finding community support. However, studies have also shown that the use of social media contributes to social comparison, unrealistic expectations, and negative mental health effects overall. The role of social media in eating disorders. We have things like body goals. I think it's really important that we all remember that the only perfect version of a person is the one crafted for the internet. Social media platforms flood people with highly curated, filtered, and edited images that really do push this form of unrealistic beauty standards onto the world and in your everyday life. With research showing things like over 40% of young girls have seen something on Facebook or Instagram that made them feel a form of unattractiveness or insecurity, the selective portrayal of posed photos can leave individuals feeling left out, inferior, or insufficient, laying the groundwork for attacks on self-worth. We can see that algorithms like this only amplify the problem by continuously promoting content that idolizes thinness, extreme fitness, and just this unattainable body type. While social media does at times present itself as a space for self-expression, which it can be at times, it also really can be a cycle of comparison, pressure, and unattainable perfection that we all see. So it really is important that understanding the connection between social media and eating disorders, you need to require a sort of critical approach to understanding how much of what we consume actually affects our daily life. And by being aware of the risks, we need to advocate for stronger platform regulations, engaging in healthier social media habits, so that people can reduce the negative effects of these platforms and your mental health overall.
My topic is on the mental health benefits for disconnecting from social media. The importance of disconnecting and the harm of continuous use of social media. In a world that is hyper-connected today with the consistent use of social media, it is important to realize the importance of disconnecting in order to preserve or rebuild our mental health status. Many studies on the correlation between mental health and social media have determined that continuous use of digital devices and online communication have led to a range of health issues. Both physically and mentally, we are able to see the impacts and need for promoting digital disconnection. This hyperconnectivity can be seen occurring within multiple personal and professional settings, showing that there is a lack of time for relaxation, breaks, and decreased quality time with loved ones due to the relentless notifications and information overload. Recognizing these negative impacts reveals the real need for digital disconnection in today's society and the benefits in doing so. Recent studies have found various benefits to digital detoxing and disconnecting. These benefits include more peace and quietness, as well as improved sleep and increased productivity. Even temporary breaks have helped increase mental health. Benefits from this temporary break included a re-examining relationship with the digital world, help with overall well-being, and psychological well-being actually had the most positive impacts from less social pressure and a reduced information load. Other studies found a shift in emotional and mental state from disengaging. This include increased awareness, better moods, and more mindfulness. So recent studies have found that overall, people who were practicing disconnecting from social media had positive experiences in multiple aspects of their well-being, like I mentioned before, in things with peace, quietness, as well as improved sleeping and an increased productivity. And even taking a break temporarily from social media has helped people to re-examine their relationship with the digital world, like I mentioned before. And by doing this, they're able to work on a way to utilize it in a healthier way, which in turn helps their overall well-being. Like I mentioned before, psychological well-being has the most positive impact as people express that being offline has taken things like social pressures off of them, and they were able to find more peace without all this information overload. And other studies found that even a temporary discontinuation of using digital media or social media had psychological benefits. Like I mentioned before, there was a shift in the emotional and mental state of those who voluntarily disengaged from social media, and they were able to find an increase in awareness, mood, well-being, and mindfulness. Some of the most common benefits from this temporary pause in using social media included an increase in self-awareness, like I mentioned before, better habits, which resulted in people being more present in their daily lives. So from this initial research, we can conclude that a temporary disuse or a permanent disconnection from social media has very evident benefits to increasing mental health. Disconnecting from social media and how to determine when you need a break. There are benefits to social media use, such as connection, community, networking, news, education, and entertainment. But the downside to social media is the negative effect it can have on our mental health. Some people have reported increased depression, higher anxiety, and poor decision making when using social media frequently. Although social media increases connectivity, oddly enough, most people experience higher levels of loneliness due to excessive social media use. Social media can overwhelm and cause addiction. In an article published by Harvard, they determined a few questions you can ask yourself to recognize when you need to disconnect from social media. Some of the questions include, how do you feel when you come away from your interactions on social media? Are you informed and positive, or do you feel drained, frustrated, and overwhelmed? The second question is the amount of time. Is the amount of time you are spending on social media cutting into the time you spend with family or friends, doing productive activities, or schoolwork? And the last question is, have people around you expressed their concern about your social media use? If you can answer yes to any of these questions, it might be time to disconnect from social media. In order to do so, you need to make a plan, recognize your triggers, limit or delete apps, hold yourself accountable, and reevaluate before you return to social media use.
Using social media for mental health awareness. Social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok have become essential to our everyday lives. Throughout the years, social media users have tripled around 1.5 million to around 4.6 million. Understanding the reach of social media on a national scale is essential for understanding the impact it has on mental health and well-being nationwide. As you can see from the graph, social media users over time from January 2012 all the way to January 2022, it has been an increase every month out of the year from 16%, 7%, all the way up to 10%. There are 22 Instagram accounts for mental health awareness. There are positive influences that comes with social media. One of the biggest advantages of social media is the ability to bring people together and create a sense of community, especially for those who might feel isolated due to their location or identity. Lauren, a licensed clinical professional counselor, talked about how important it is for social connections and how important they are for our mental health. Finding online spaces where people can find support and feel like they truly belong is a powerful way to combat loneliness. Social media can be used to share personal stories, provide resources and support, create engaging content, and also encourage open conversations. All these are important in order to encourage individuals to share their mental health journey and create community to reduce stigma. Sharing information about mental health resources like hotlines and professional help are available that makes it easy to find the need for assistance. By creating videos and interactive posts to educate followers or viewers on mental health topics to promote self-care. This creates an environment where followers feel comfortable discussing mental health issues by promoting discussions and invites questions. Social media also have negative influences as well. Recent studies indicates a strong correlation between social media and increased levels of anxiety and depression amongst users. A survey conducted by Pew Research Center found that 69% of adults in the U.S. believe social media can harm mental health, especially younger demographic. Younger demographic reports are shown to have higher anxiety level, with 30% of adolescents indicating that they feel overwhelmed by the amount of information that they may encounter. These statistics show how the reality of social media pressures, constant comparison, and the urgency to maintain a ideal persona online will contribute to poor mental health outcomes. As you can see in the chart, majority of Americans say social media negatively affect the way things are going in the country today. As you can see, in the US, there are about 64% positive, 10%, neither is 25. Also, Negative influence also includes the risk of misinformation, stigma, cyberbullying, increased anxiety, and also comparison. Although social media may be a lot to handle, but you can also manage these influences as well. You can control what experiences you have on social media by seeking out only mindful content, by curating your feed to include only informative or uplifting content. You should be able to avoid most of the negative aspects of it. You may also find yourself unfollowing or blocking users in your friend list or feed that are known to share majority of negative comments or content. So social media can be positive and negative, but you can also control everything.
Hi, my name's Kennedy, and my topic is the correlation between social media and cyberbullying. So I first want to start off by going over what cyberbullying is. Via stopbullying.gov in 2024, they cited cyberbullying as sending, posting, or sharing negative, harmful, false, or mean content about someone else. It can include sharing personal or private information about someone else, causing embarrassment or humiliation. Some cyberbullying crosses the line into unlawful or criminal behavior. So with the correlation between social media and cyberbullying, they have a very strong connection and correlation to each other. With the increased use of social media in today's world, the amount of cyberbullying also increases. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok are the most common platforms to see cyberbullying occur. Most of this occurs in comments or private DMs or taking pictures of someone else, posting it on their account, stuff like that. Instagram is the highest percentage of where cyberbullying occurs with 42%, and then Facebook with 37%, Snapchat 31%, WhatsApp 12%, YouTube 10%, and Twitter 9%. So when talking about the correlation between social media and cyberbullying, I also believe it's important to discuss the mental health aspect of cyberbullying on social media. So there's no doubt that social media is the reason cyberbullying is so prevalent today. However, with cyberbullying comes negative effects. Mental health struggles such as depression, suicidal thoughts, eating and body disorders, and anxiety have been connected to cyberbullying via social media. Through UNICEF Cyberbullying, What Is It and How to Stop It, they mention some effects of mental health through cyberbullying. Some of these effects include withdrawal from friends and family, negative thoughts and self-talk, feeling guilty over things you did or did not do, constantly feeling judged, feeling lonely, overwhelmed, frequent headaches, nausea or stomach aches, lost motivation, and for some students, skipping school. They also mention some sorts of abuse through alcohol and drugs. It's important to attempt to block out any cyberbullying or harmful comments on social media. Doing this helps avoid any unnecessary effects to your mental health.
Hello, my name is Adrian Rodriguez, and I will be presenting the How Influencers Impact Followers' Mental Health slide. To begin, how do influencers affect our mental health? Well, social media and mental health go hand in hand. What we see online can greatly influence how we see our own lives, especially through our favorite content creators and influencers. Influencers are a big part of social media, and they are the ones who start trends and can shape the way we think. How we engage with our favorite influencers and creators builds a standard in our head on what we want from life, which then impacts our mental health. As a social media user, we tend to relate and compare to these influencers, which can sometimes benefit us or degenerate us. So there's two sides to this, the good and bad, of how influencers can impact our mental health. As much as influencers can negatively impact how humans see their own lives, it can also positively impact them. The pros of influencers is that sometimes they can provide life tips. A lot of influencers also have motivational content, which can benefit us mentally. And us seeing success in other influencers can make us chase our own success. And for others, it can also create a community to relate with. The cons about influencers is that sometimes they can tend to show off their life. Seeing their lives can make you feel bad about our own. Another con about influencers and social media is that sometimes we spend too much time watching them, which can impact our own mental health. And the wrong influencers can give you a bad mentality. You'll see some influencers do pranks or want to party, drink, and this can leave a negative impact on our mind. Alright, so for the last part on how influencers can affect our mental health, I am displaying a chart made by Statista, who conducted a survey on the youth, mainly ages 14 and 24. The factors that were taken into account in making this chart were anxiety, depression, loneliness, and self-image. As you can see, the chart is ranked by 1 through 5, with YouTube being the only green one, meaning it is the only net positive platform that has a positive impact on mental health, compared to the other 4 that are red, Instagram being the lowest negative impact on mental health, or the highest impact on mental health, and this shows that influencers on YouTube can actually help mental health within their followers, compared to influencers on Instagram who can negatively impact mental health, especially within the youth. This can be from displaying a lifestyle that most don't have, or sharing pictures of travel or money and stuff like that, compared to YouTube, where there's a lot of influencers who post videos on positively helping your lifestyle. It can be from tips, lifestyle tips, exercise tips, diet tips, or just in general positivity. While there's not many influencers on Twitter, Facebook, or Snapchat, most of the negative impact on mental health can come from other people posting, especially influencers. And yeah.